On the Avantasia albums, you have been also accused of being too present, unlike some of the guests who sometimes appear only a half of a song of the entire album. So, did any of the guests ever feel despoiled, or?
No, I don't think so. Nobody told me.
Okay.
I mean, they have a fucking guest. It's my party. No, seriously. I mean, I don't think so. You know, whenever I really don't feel, or I don't feel too important to say Jornan is a way better singer than I am, and I gave him some very great spots, and he made the record so valuable. I mean, without Alice Cooper, the record would not be the same. I've always dared to say that without Sasha Pat, the record would not have even been recorded. So I don't feel too good to say and admit that. It's just, you know, that it's a conceptual album. It's a mix of a solo album and an all-star project, rock opera, whatever you call it. But it's just I'm singing the main role, and you know, the Toymaster spot was just for one song. So okay. You know, Alice Cooper, if you see that, I'm very thankful you did it, but I couldn't have you singing on any more songs. I met him like 4 weeks ago, and he didn't seem too pissed off about it.
So, how did the Avantasia show at the last Wacken go? I imagine you must have dreamed of this concert for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the highlight of my career so far, because it's like, you know, there's not so much, or there's not so much that you can reach afterwards. That, I mean, where can you go from there? It's the biggest heavy metal festival in the world. It was 80,000 people officially, but there was people were saying that rumors had it that it was more than 120,000 people, which is, you know, I don't really make a difference. It doesn't look so different, I think. You know, I don't know if there's a difference between 80,000. I mean, you know, technically there's a difference between 80,000 and 120,000 people, but you know, it was just, as far as I could see, there were only, you know, hands. There was an ocean of hands, and it was, when I was on stage, I remember I was quite overwhelmed. I was thinking like, oh my god, I never dared to dream of that. So I was really overwhelmed, and I couldn't believe it. And that's, you know, you know, you're headlining the biggest heavy metal festival in the world with your side project. This is something I would never have dreamed of.
And do you think it could be possible one day to organize an Avantasia concert with all the guests and a real storyline on stage, like in a theater maybe, or something like that?
No, I don't think so. You know, I mean, there's been so many people involved. It would have been surreal. I mean, it would have been impossible to get all the people on stage, to get, you know, all those people like Michael Kiske. You know, it's hard to get him on a heavy metal stage at all. Yeah. Then you got people like Alice Cooper. Why would he come to Germany to sing for one song on stage with me, while he can play a sold-out tour in the US with his own band? And there's like 20 people who could play, you know, sold-out tours in some territories with their own bands, and they all have their own business. So, you know, I mean, if some real rich man would come and say, here you got 1 billion, pay everybody $20 million US, and make them do the Avantasia thing live, I think then it would be a possibility, but not for the real money, you know.
Okay. In the metal world, every time someone mentions a metal opera, people immediately think about Avantasia, but also about Arion. So, do you have anything to say about Arion Lucassen? What do you think about his work?
He's a very, very great guy. He's a very nice guy. We did a song together.
Yeah.
And
an Alice Cooper cover.
Yeah, right, yeah. And he sounds like Alice Cooper, which is pretty funny. He's a very, very nice person, and he's a true artist, and I really have a lot of respect for that. It was funny because the two albums, The Scarecrow and his most recent album, they came out at the same time, and everybody came up with that Clash of the Titans shit. And you know, and this one is better, no, Avantasia is better, no, Arion is better, and yeah, this is, and people, even in the press, we were asked about each other all the time, and at some point we were like bad-mouthing each other, but just, you know, pulling fun basically, piss taking, you know, back and forth. And at some point I said, okay, that's getting too rude. I'm just gonna send him an email and say who I am and that I have a lot of respect for his work and that it's not my intention to badmouth him. That it's a funny game. And he said, oh, he replied to me and he said, oh yeah, let's do it. It's gonna be good press. And that was, and then we were in touch, and he asked me if I would like to sing on his single. And he's a very, very nice guy and a true artist. I think it's very rare. Today everybody knows how to read contracts and everybody knows what to do which way in order to sell records, and I think he's a true artist, and that's something I have real respect for.
Yeah, and could you consider a more ambitious collaboration?
With Arjen?
Yeah.
He's a songwriter, I'm a songwriter, and I think we are both very, very alpha animals, I'd say. So I don't know how it would work, but it would be definitely. We had a little collaboration. You never know. I would never say never, but we haven't thought and spoken about it.
Okay, so now let's have a little philosophical debate now.
Oh, Jesus.
So a band that sells is often considered to be a commercial band. And in your opinion, why is it so badly considered to make a good living when you play heavy metal?
I don't know, but it's like, everybody who's having a proper day job is would easily quit his day job and go to somebody who would pay him like 100 euros more a month. But if you go to a label that pays you 120,000 euros more a month, no, a year or whatever, it's like it's I don't know. It's just like all I was ever asking for was making my living with playing music, and I never understood the debate, because everybody who makes music, everybody who plays music and who records music and signs a record deal wishes to sell many records. It's just the question, how far would you go just in order to sell records? And I would not do everything to sell records. Some people were judging me for putting out those commercial singles. They called it commercial because it was successful. It was not my fault. I think it was a good song. But everybody was, or a lot of people were bad-mouthing me, pointing the finger and saying, oh, you're selling out. No, I just did something that you probably don't like, which is fine to me, but shut the fuck up.
And you have said in many interviews that you wanted to break down musical barriers, and that's why you've been denouncing the curse of bands who have totally sold themselves to their fans, and they are afraid to be seen as commercial. So can you develop this idea?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you spoke about those bands who are afraid to be seen as a commercial band, and then they not evolve because they are afraid to lose their fans. So they are slaves to their fans.
Which is actually the most commercial behavior that you can really. I don't find the verb, but you know what I mean. That's the worst behavior, because you're ass kissing. You're ass kissing, and you just want to. You play the music because the music that you probably don't want to play, just because you're afraid of losing your fans. That's the most commercial behavior you can. Again, the word is missing.